Hi everyone, what's happening? Welcome back to Dog and Cat Nutrition. Today we are taking some Q&As from you guys. So let's get straight into it. Thank you so much for joining me. Right, what to do then? And this is a comment after reading what's hypoallergenic dog food, a video I made about hypoallergenic dog food. So whenever you go to the vet or whenever someone talks about a better food for your dog, oftentimes they will give you a hypoallergenic food and they will recommend a hypoallergenic food. The problem with hypoallergenic and the meaning of hypoallergenic is that the list of ingredients has never been defined. And so, for example, here in the UK, the most vet recommended veterinary prescription diet contains sugar. And so, if sugar is hypoallergenic, anything can be hypoallergenic. So, guess what? Manufacturers know this and they just put whatever they want in the food and they tell you it's hypoallergenic. So, instead of saying or going for a hypoallergenic food or a natural food or whatever, I would recommend you read the ingredients and you choose a better food irrespective of labels on the front. So, as we always say, no wheat, no barley, no cereals, no meat and animal derivatives, no natural flavors, no sugar or sugar derivatives like dextrose, for example, and the dog will be a lot better. No maize, no corn, that sort of thing. We just don't like them. And those actually tend to be the most common allergens. If your dog has an allergy and is a nutrition allergy, you should go for a rare food. I have done many videos on this. You should go on to watch them, but you basically choose a rare meat: reindeer, goat, quail, sardines, carp, and you put the dog on that food. Consult with your local pet shop. Always support your local pet shop. So there you go. um mm, 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 mm. To be honest, I would prefer raw food, but it seems inconvenient somehow. And would the dogs like it? Well, listen, I've just had this conversation with someone who came in yesterday to one of our branches, and she started not criticizing raw, but she wasn't very happy about raw food. And I was asking her, I was like, "Do you want to feed raw?" And she was like, "No, I don't really want to feed raw, but I've been told is the best." And I'm like, "Well, what business do you have feeding something you don't believe in or you don't feel comfortable doing?" So I said to her, "Why don't we choose a good quality kibble and then you just add maybe a good quality wet food or whatever, or maybe we don't add a good quality wet food and we just stick to a really good kibble because that's what you feel comfortable with." And she was like, "Yeah, I just feel comfortable with kibble." And I'm like, "Right, okay, I'll just meet you where you are." What we can be doing is saying, "Well, you just need to do this, and this is the right way to do it, and everyone else can get in the bin." That's not the right way to approach things. That's why we are quite good at what we do, because we are quite open-minded. So you don't have to feed raw, you don't have to DIY your own food, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. Now, a better food is always going to go a long way. But yes, absolutely, you do not have to feed raw and you don't really have to do anything. But so many people get so tribal in the pet food industry. Feed raw, feed raw, feed kibble, feed kibble. You can feed whatever you want, and that's fine. Uh, 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 um, have you best raw dog food brands in the UK? Which one is best? Have you made an equivalent video for cats? If not, please make a UK pre-made raw review video for them too. Yes, I have actually, and I believe it's on the channel. So thank you for your question. Chicken allergy in dogs, free seminar. I did a free seminar on suspected allergies for dogs, and it was a chicken allergy because so many people come to our branches or on our online consultations and they protest that they think the dog might be allergic to chicken. And so it might be allergic to chicken. So I did a full seminar on how to feed a dog around a suspected chicken allergy. So go on and watch it if you are that way inclined. Can you tell us how long to freeze raw meat for and how long to defrost for? So we thaw the raw food for maybe like well, it depends how cold it is in your house. If you are in India in the middle of the summer, the thawing process is going to be a lot quicker than if you live in Siberia. So it depends where you are in the world. Just thaw for a few hours as needed. Don't feed it frozen to the dog, because then that's going to go everywhere. And I'm talking from experience there. Can you tell us how long to freeze raw meat for? Again, it depends. Some people say 7 days. In the UK, meat needs to be frozen before consumption and before handling for up to 14 days, and they are very, very stringent with those regulations. That's the last one I heard anyway, because obviously you need to process things properly, you need to store things properly, you need to get rid of all bacteria, etc., etc. So in order for that to take place, they freeze the meat for 14 days and then they start handling the meat. So yeah. If we are cooking for our dogs, how do we include bone? Cook it and blend it in a blender. You do not cook bone, because that's not what bone is for. If you are going to cook bone and then put it in a blender and powder it, you might as well feed kibble, which is not something I recommend. Again, if you are going to put bone in a blender, that's going to create shards, and that screams expensive vet bill. So no, you just don't cook the bone. You just give the dog a bone as needed, raw, uncooked, and yeah, the dog will love it. Give the dog something manageable at first. Don't give the dog a big knuckle bone, a big f off bone. Don't do that. Give the dog something manageable, something small, something that won't cause any blockages, something manageable, something that your dog will be happy to do and you'll be comfortable giving your dog. Don't give anything with too much meat that will gross you out, etc., etc. But yeah, goose wings, duck wings, things like that contain bone, shin, venison legs, that sort of thing. If you don't like bone, you can put eggshells for calcium, but you want the dog to be chewing, and the dog chews on dogs chew on bones. So yeah, bone should comprise about 10% of your dog's diet. So if you are going to say feed the dog 100 grams of food, 10 grams of those 100 should be bone. That's what we recommend. Thank you for the question. um uh, uh, um Hello, I have an English bulldog with many foods, always a runny poo. Exactly what are the two best for this case? You would need to tell me more about the case, my friend. But with many foods, always a runny poo. Again, look at the dog's food and try to eliminate different allergens. Wheat, beef, chicken, maybe pork, and then we have rice, wheat, barley, corn, soy, vague things like meat and animal derivatives, things like natural flavors, dextrose, sugar derivatives like dextrose, I've just said. Things like that aren't very whole grains, things like that aren't very good for dogs. What we want to do is traceability. If we have traceability, at least we will know what I'm giving the dog. If I'm giving the dog, a pig ear, and I give the dog then another pig ear and another pig ear, and the dog has the runs, for example, I know pretty sure that the pig ear is causing the runs. So if I remove the pig ear and I give the dog rabbit's ears instead, and the dog is okay, then I know that the dog might be reactive or sensitive to pork and not to rabbit. So if I give the dog something with natural flavors or animal fats, do I know which animal those fats come from? No, they don't. So I would be very, very, very careful as to how to do that. So yeah, I would need to know more. Drop us an email, info@thepetquarter.co.uk, or leave a comment and we will be able to help. Absolutely no problem. um I switched my dogs to a vegan dog food, and I haven't noticed any change in their health. In fact, it seems like their ears don't get infected as often as they used to. But of course, that's just my biased observation. I'll never be against more scientific studies so long as the animals aren't being harmed, of course. Yes, yeah, this is a very level-headed argument. I do not advocate for vegan pet food. I don't like vegan pet food, and I think vegan pet food is a very bad idea because different amino acid profiles. Vegan dog food sometimes is deficient in leucine, being one of the essential amino acids, and so vegan dog foods, in our opinion, are not a very good idea. However, you raised a very good point in that scientific studies in the pet food industry need to be better, and I've just made a video about some of the science behind pet food studies and how bad it is, and why you should not be following that science because it's very patchy. It's all full of cohort data as opposed to randomized controlled trials. And whenever you indoctrinate people into believing something and then you give them observational data and you ask to report on observations only, then that's a recipe for disaster. So what we want to do is randomize the whole thing, and there aren't too many randomized controlled trials in pet food. That's why we don't like it. So yeah, we don't like vegan pet food. We strongly go against it, and there are other ways to do it, healthier ways to do it. Animal protein for carnivorous beings like dogs and cats are the way forward. And if you have an allergy, your dog has an allergy, or your cat has an allergy, diverting and putting your eggs in the vegan camp isn't a very good job. So that's our opinion. And if you are looking on how to feed your dog better, you should download our guide, How to Feed My Dog Better, 10 Pillars of Dog Health. Learn how to make your own dog food. We all need to be doing this. Wake up, people. To a certain extent, yes, if you are that way inclined and you want to make your own dog food, then you can do it and your dog will be able to benefit. For a lot for everyone virtually, maybe like apart from 1%, people have jobs, people have kids, people have busy lives, and they don't want to do it. They do not want to cook food. They don't want to be chewed with DIY dog food, and so that's something they aren't interested in. And if you aren't interested, you can buy really good raw food, really good kibbles, and really good food overall. So yeah, hidden dangers of ultra processed dog food. Interesting. Yeah, I think a lot more people are waking up to the fact that kibble and certain kibbles and the low quality kibbles are very dangerous. Just like extremely palatable, caloric dense foods in humans are not the best for us either. And so a lot of people are making the one-to-one correlation causation between ill health of dogs and cats and high vet bills, and they are putting one on one together with what their dogs or cats are eating, and they're looking at the food and questioning the food, which is a very good premise and something we highly encourage you to do. So if you are one of those people, then welcome to the club. You know, Librella, the safety issues. Have you been able to follow up with him now that Librella has been out longer and appears to have many more reports to the FDA? No, I haven't. And I'm aware that Librella and Solentia are now under the microscope and they have now been um, questioned a lot more by the FDA and formally. Back when I did the video on the series of videos, everything was a bit more patchy, everything was a bit more, like a conspiracy, if you know what I mean. But it hasn't been a conspiracy. It's been formally investigated. And so we haven't followed on the story because we don't think there's anything to follow up on the story. Whatever comes out of the story comes out of the story. We try to prevent people from it. We try to open people's eyes to the whole thing, and it's for you to decide whether these treatments are for your dog or cat or not. uh, 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 um, mm, mm, mm. So, um, mm, mm, mm. let me go on to others here. How can I tell if my dog's diet is nutritionally balanced? This is a bit of a misnomer. Whose diet is 100% complete and balanced? Mine isn't. I'm sure yours isn't. What we want to do is give ourselves and give our dogs a variety, a different variety, a wide variety of different meats and different things and different nutrients and different minerals and different ingredients and different, especially meats for our little carnivores. So if you are asking how can I tell if my dog's diet is nutritionally balanced, well, do you always and only pick the same bag of dog food every single time? If you do, maybe it's time for you to pick something better or to pick something different. And if you rotate the meats, that's a lot better. So instead of asking what is the right balance of nutrients, ask what is the widest variety I can provide my dog with, and your dog will surely benefit from that, just like you benefit from different foods whenever you eat, and you just don't eat the same thing every single day. Your dog shouldn't be eating the same thing every single day. So yeah. Can dogs digest raw vegetables? This is very interesting. Yes and no. It depends what vegetables and how. As a generic rule of thumb, if you feed your dog a carrot, a raw carrot, you are going to see bits of raw carrot coming out the other end. And this is a very clear indication that you should not feed your dog raw vegetables unless you want them coming out the other end for some reason, right? So, as a source of insoluble fiber, a little bit, for example, because they aren't going to get all the goodies, all the antioxidants from the vegetables. So no, they have a very short digestive tract, and so we don't really recommend giving dogs raw vegetables. If you want to feed your dog vegetables, puree them or lightly cook them. And don't give the dog more than maybe 5 to 6% in vegetables of the overall diet. Don't add vegetables to the kibble, for example. Don't give the dogs broccoli or carrots on top of everything else you give the dog. That is going to give your dog zero nutritional value and zero benefit. If you want to feed your dog's gut, all the antioxidants, all the polyphenols, as it were, you should always feed them pureed. You should always puree them first and then feed it to the dog. In that way, they can absorb them. They can absorb something called polyphenols, which is all the antioxidants, all the minerals, etc., all the good things from vegetables. How can I choose the best commercial dog food for my dog? Interesting question. High meat content, low carbohydrate, low glycemic carbohydrate. And this is something I always advocate for. So, we want to see high quality ingredients. We want to see meat as the first ingredient and the second and the third if possible. And we want to see a very high degree of this meat content. And then for the carbohydrate or the filler, we want to see a very low amount. This low amount could be peas, for example, could be could be sweet potato, could be anything small. 2 seconds. So yes, low glycemic carbohydrates, and that way, surely you are totally going to do a really good job. Speak to your local independent pet shop. They are probably more attuned to what the market is, what to do, what not to do, and they will be able to tell you how to do things. But yeah, high in meat, low in carbohydrates, low glycemic carbohydrates, no wheat, no barley, no corn, none of these things that we just don't like. Those are low quality kibbles, no cereals, no things like that, no meat and animal derivatives. I want to be feeding my dog fresh chicken and raw salmon. Even if then you feed a kibble that says fresh salmon, obviously the salmon is not fresh because I'm feeding the dog kibble, but it's still going to be fresh going into the blender. And that's something I like. So yeah, that's how I would choose the best commercial dog food. Let me know any further comments. We will be doing these Q&As on a regular basis. And yeah, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.